They are adorable, innocent, and completely unaware of the danger that may lie within the four walls of their home. And there's no greater joy for new parents than the arrival of their first child. However, when Emily and Jason brought their little girl Lily home from the hospital, they had no idea that their happiness would soon turn to horror. Little did they know that what they would see on their baby monitor would shake them to their very core. Are you ready to hear this chilling tale? Well, then let's begin. Emily and Jason were overjoyed to welcome their baby girl Lily into their lives. Now that she was home, they wanted to take care of her in every way possible. In addition to the standard necessities like a cradle, diapers, and bottles, they also purchased a top-of-the-line baby monitor so they could keep an eye on Lily while she slept. While it wasn't a necessity, it did give Emily and Jason peace of mind. Knowing they could check on their daughter whenever they wanted meant they didn't have to constantly worry about her while she napped. And since Lily spent most of her time sleeping, this was important for the new parents. The first few nights went by without any problems. The monitor was able to send a clear signal to their television, allowing them to watch Lily sleep soundly in her crib. But after the third night, things started to get weird. It was 3 a.m. and the couple was fast asleep, when suddenly the television screen flickered to life. It was their monitor, but instead of showing a sweet sleeping baby, it displayed a dark corner of the nursery. Confused, Emily and Jason looked at each other, wondering if they were imagining things. But when they saw the price of the closet door slowly open, they knew they weren't mistaken. After confirming that Lily was still safely in her crib, Emily and Jason tried to convince themselves that everything was fine. Maybe it was just a branch scraping against the house, or perhaps a stray cat had gotten into the room. But as the days passed, the strange occurrences continued to happen, each one more terrifying than the last. One evening, Jason was sitting in his home office working on his laptop when he heard the unmistakable sound of his daughter crying. He quickly ran to the monitor to check on her, expecting to find out that she had soiled her diaper or was hungry. But what he saw on the screen made him freeze in his tracks. Hovering above the crib was a dark, translucent figure with long, spindly fingers that reached toward the helpless infant. Startled, Jason ran into the nursery to check on Lily. But when he got there, he found her peacefully sleeping with no sign of any disturbance. Convinced that what he had seen on the monitor was nothing more than a trick of the light or a malfunction in the equipment, Jason tried to rationalize away the incident. However, as the days went by, the mysterious events continued to escalate. Whispers could be heard coming from the monitor, and the sounds of footsteps echoed through the silent nursery. Emily and Jason couldn't understand the words being spoken, but they sent shivers down their spines. Determined to get to the bottom of these frightening occurrences, Jason installed a recording system on the monitor, hoping to capture whatever was happening on camera. What he saw in the recordings was even more disturbing than what he had witnessed with his own eyes. The footage showed a dark, shapeless entity moving around the nursery, sometimes appearing to interact with Lily's toys, and other times seeming to hover near the baby's crib. To make matters worse, the entity was only visible on the monitor, never in person. When Jason or Emily went into the nursery to investigate, they would find nothing out of the ordinary. This made the situation even more unsettling, as if the entity was aware of their presence and choosing to remain hidden from them. As time went on, the activity increased in intensity. The entity became more bold, appearing during the day as well as at night, and the whispers grew louder, more coherent, and more menacing. Emily and Jason couldn't understand the words being said, but the tone of the voice was clearly hostile and threatening. It was at this point that the couple realized they were dealing with something truly sinister and they needed help. They reached out to a local paranormal investigation team, hoping that they could help uncover the source of the haunting and put an end to it once and for all. The investigators arrived at the house and set up various pieces of equipment, including cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic field meters. They spent several hours in the nursery, trying to communicate with whatever entity was present, but their efforts were met with silence. As the investigation continued, however, they began to uncover some disturbing details about the history of the house. According to local records, a family had lived in the house in the early 1900s. A fire had broken out in the middle of the night, taking the lives of everyone inside. Could this be the source of the haunting? Was the entity the ghost of a family member seeking to protect their descendant? With each passing day, the entity's presence grew stronger. Objects began to move on their own. Doors opened and closed by themselves, and strange sounds filled the house. Emily and Jason were terrified. They felt like they were being watched all the time, and the constant feeling of dread was taking a toll on their mental health. In the middle of the night, they would often wake up to the sound of their baby monitor going haywire, followed by the chilling sight of a dark, shapeless entity standing over their sleeping daughter. The entity seemed to be taunting them, enjoying their fear and reveling in their helplessness. As the haunting escalated, Emily and Jason knew they had to do something. They couldn't risk their daughter's safety, and they couldn't bear the constant terror of not knowing what would happen next. They decided to call in the experts, a team of professional paranormal investigators. When the team arrived, they were shocked by what they saw and heard. The entity was bold, unafraid of their presence, and seemingly unfazed by their attempts to communicate with it. It continued to move around the house, whispering its unintelligible secrets and watching them with its unseen eyes. Despite the danger, the team pressed on, determined to uncover the truth behind the haunting and put an end to it once and for all. But as they delved deeper into the mystery, they uncovered a dark secret that had been hidden for years. The house had a tragic past, a history of violence and death that had left an indelible mark on the property. The team discovered that the previous owner had been involved in a series of gruesome murders, and the entity they were dealing with was the spirit of one of his victims. As the investigation continued, the team uncovered more details about the murders. The victims had been tortured before their deaths, and the house was now cursed as a result. The entity was not only a witness to the crimes, but also a victim, and it was seeking justice for itself and the others who had died there. This discovery shook the team to their core. They had stumbled upon a case that was unlike anything they had ever seen before, but they were determined to bring closure to the victims and peace to their restless spirits. As the investigation neared its end, the team began to feel the presence of the entity growing stronger. It was as if it was trying to communicate with them, desperate to tell them its story and break the curse that had held it captive for so long. Through their investigations, they discovered that the entity was the spirit of a young woman named Sarah, who had been brutally murdered in the house many years ago. With this new information, they were able to communicate with Sarah's spirit and learn the full story of what had happened to her. As Sarah's story unfolded, the team was horrified by the brutality of her murder. She had been tortured and killed in a way that was meant to keep her spirit trapped in the house forever. But she was not the only victim. The team discovered that Sarah's killer had murdered several other women in the same way, and their spirits were also trapped in the house. But as the team worked to free Sarah's spirit and lift the curse from the house, they inadvertently unleashed evil forces that had been dormant for years. The entity, now freed from its earthly bonds, began to wreak havoc in the physical world. As the team struggled to contain the damage done, they realized that they had unleashed something that could never be truly stopped. They had opened the door to the spirit world, and evil forces were now flowing through it. The team worked tirelessly to undo the damage they had caused, but it was a losing battle. The spirit world was too powerful, and the line between the two realms had become blurred. In the end, the team was forced to retreat, leaving the house and its tormented spirits behind. The haunting continued, and the house stood as a monument to the evil that lurked within. And so the story serves as a warning to those who dare to mess with forces they do not understand. It is a reminder that some doors are best left unopened, and some secrets are best left buried. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. For more content like this, make sure to check out our other videos as well. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.